There we go. This is Dean with the Two Party Podcast. I am on here and I am horrible with names. This is something I always do on my podcast. See if I get this right. Iryna Woods.
Iryna Wood,
Irina.
almost.
See? So I hold my record with messing up everybody's names. Um,
You did great. Believe me, we're so close comparing to the others. You did great.
well, thank you. So a little bit of history here. Irina Wood is the self-love and relationship expert. Um, there's so much we want, like I talked about before we started recording. You dive right into self-love, self-acceptance, healthy relationships. You've been a model. You have a master's in international diplomatic relations, astrology, numerology. I mean, the list goes on the things you've done in your life that really kind of drew me into having you on as a guest, is because I think a lot of these things my audience really loves to talk about. And so let's go ahead and dive right in. Tell the audience who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about your background.
Hey, Dean, again, thank you so much for inviting. Actually, I just found out we are neighbors, which makes it even more
Hmm.
intriguing and interesting. Now I want to meet you in person. So, yeah, you call me self-love and relationship expert. That's how I do present myself in social media and on my website. Why? Because I do believe that we can't build up healthy relationships with ourselves and the others without true self-love. What do I mean by self-love? It's mostly about self-knowledge, self-acceptance, yourself as you are, because we all want to be understood and accepted, and it's very
Hmm.
difficult to get it from the other people. And that's why I do believe that we have to start from ourselves first. And as I said already, self-understanding. So not being scared to be yourself and understand that even maybe your disadvantages can bring you to great benefits in life and succeed in your own way.
Very good, very good. There was so many things, like I said, when I was reading through your bio, there's just so many things about your life that's just so interesting. You were a model, of course. Um, I think if I'm not mistaken, is it Theodosia is where you're from?
Feodosia, that's my native city, Crimea, Ukraine. Yes. How did you do that? That
It's
you pronounced so good that even I can do that.
I feel like I need to start taking Ukrainian lessons and start learning the language. I'm getting better already. But yeah, I mean, I'm just going through arenawood.com, your website, to let our
Sure.
audience know where they can kind of learn a little more about you. And again, the history here, your about page on here just tells a lot of history about you know your hometown, kind of where you started when you were younger, and where you kind of started this journey in the self-love and acceptance. And I think this is an interesting part of that bio. It says, I saw many beautiful women, but not many happy lives, right? And we see that daily. I mean, you see people. We live in a really weird world with the internet, and everything's about social media and how to be seen. But are we really truly happy, right?
Yeah. Um, yes, actually, thank you for reading my website. It's a pleasure for me. That's why I put it all this information there because I want to be transparent to my audience, to people who are interested in my services or just to get to know me better as a personality because I do podcast, I do work with people in counseling and I know, own the app as you know, but we'll probably talk about that later. So
Hmm.
I came from Ukraine. I was born in a very small city, but very artistic and very interesting city because a lot of like people who were into art they were from there, and when you're born next to the sea and you live by the ocean, you know, people next to the water, they're different. They're mostly
Hmm.
creative, they're spiritual, they're open mind, they're outgoing, they're friendly. And I was looking for myself since my childhood. It's interesting, as a child I was always questioning the universe or God, you know, like,
Yeah.
oh, what I'm doing here on earth, how encounters are happening, why my father and mother are together. So I was
Hmm.
very curious about the life, you know, and about the relationship between people. And I think that created some kind of base of me being um, intrigued by the spiritual world because I understood that material is something visible, it's something you can touch, it's something you can
Hmm.
embrace. But what about spirituality? Because everybody does use Wi-Fi, but not, it's the same like energy. You can't
Yes.
feel it, yes. So everybody needs it, but who thinks what stands behind it? So the same here. And when I was 23 years old, I started to dive into astrology that wasn't even close to my education because my parents, they own one of the, uh, I would say, best quality brand for the food production in Ukraine. And they definitely wanted me to inherit the business. They definitely want me to
Right.
continue the
Take over the
journey
family
because
business. Yeah.
yes, and I kind of, did some things for them because I worked in marketing department and you experience, I read about you as well on your
Hmm.
website. You
Yep.
tried so many things, and I think that's what life is for. Try
Yeah.
as many things as you can. Of course, try to stay away from drugs, but I don't know if we are
Correct.
protected from
Correct.
that when you're young.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway, everybody does their own journey. So when I was 23, I got my master's degree in diplomatic economic
Hmm.
relationship. I put my diploma on the table. I already would have been working on the factory of my parents in marketing department, and I realized it's not my way for many reasons. First of all, I didn't want to feel privileged
Hmm.
because I understood I will never succeed in life on my own if I
Right.
would be overly protected and controlled by my parents, and I was the only child by that
Hmm.
time. So, second thing, I just wasn't interested in food production as much as I was
Right.
honored, like, and I always was proud about my parents. It was kind of not my thing. I don't
Yeah.
know, it's too much economics, too much financial stuff. I'm inspired by different things in the world, but I knew
Hmm.
numbers, I understood them very well, and I studied for that. So I wanted to blend it with spirituality, and it appeared to be my interest, astrology, because I was pretty determined and very curious and passionate about whatever I'm doing in life. And I was kind of addicted. Everybody has their own addiction.
Yeah.
Somebody, to sports, the other to the alcohol, to coffee, into drugs, whatever. I was addicted. You're a musician. Yes, you have your addiction to music.
Yep.
So you can
Yep.
understand me. I was absolutely passionate about studying nonstop.
Right.
And astrology
Knowledge, just
was
gaining
my,
knowledge
yeah,
into different things. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So astrology was my entering point to understand, like how numbers can help us to understand yourself better, how it's really possibly mathematically to
Hmm.
calculate something about yourself and figure it out. So the next step was numerology after astropsychology. And as far as you see on my website, I didn't stop for so many
No.
similar sciences because
Hmm.
I did like Theta healing, Reiki, and I
Yes.
got fourth degree. So I never stopped. I couldn't stop just being a practitioner or student. I wanted really to know how to educate others in this field
Right.
or how I can use it for my future profession. That's how my and after I got my master's degree in psychology. So blend of all those things in
Hmm.
total, they created my own method that I work and practice with people for so many years. And so far it worked so good.
Yeah. Um, so tell us a little bit about that. I've been my mom, very interesting. My mom has been a very unique person my whole life. My mom has claimed to have psychic abilities most of her life. She has actually kind of done some very odd things over the years that we're like, how did you do that? Like just come up with things, remember, just said things that happened, right? And we're always like, no, there's no way. But it's like, wow, maybe mom is psychic, right? My
Yep.
mom, I don't think she really got into the numerology side of things, but she's always been into the astrology and kind of the different things that go along with that. How does the numerology work for some of our audience that may not be familiar with how do you get the readings and stuff from numerology? How does that work?
First of all, it's a pure math and it's nothing like fortune telling or palm reading. I have zero, like, I don't know what's the other sciences.
Right.
So I treat people with a lot of respect who can just see the future. I
Hmm.
don't know how to do that. I use
Yep.
just mathematical tools and only for one reason to help you to understand your potential and to
Right.
open it up. Because while working with people, I have my methods of 8 steps and basics of it, the entering point or entering class. It's to understand, of course, your concerns and your requests, but as well to see your astrology and numerology. And when it comes to numerology itself, first of all those scientists, they came from
Hmm.
Mesopotamia. It's years ago. In Greece, for
Yeah.
example, astrology was a part of natural education,
Hmm.
and you could go to the university and study things about yourself to understand yourself better. The world is built on numbers, geometry,
Correct.
and algebra.
Hmm.
So, and when it comes to numerology itself, let's say, give me your date of birth, for example.
Mine's
Just
February 11th of
September.
1976. February.
Sorry,
February.
February.
Yep.
Okay, so February it's two. Two, it's always about being a caring parent. It's about take care of home, take care of others, maybe even take care of plants or pets. So it's a person who has a natural wisdom of feeling how to care of things. For example,
Hmm.
let's say, I don't know, you're a man. If it was a woman, I would say probably a woman who knows some kind of traditions, how to cook, with
Right.
herbs and everything like that.
Hmm.
So, it's always about providing care. If it would be a long session, I would talk more. 11, it's always about power. It's people of physics, it's people of physical activity, it's people of knowing how to be insistent, how not to give up, how to wake up, people of willpower, people of discipline if they want, are
Hmm.
very determined people. They can know how to fight for themselves and the others. And the year of birth is
1976. I'm showing my age.
that's okay. I'm 30
40,
years,
oh,
30,
49, I'll be
30.
50. Yep.
Yeah, I'm 38 years old, and but this is not the reason I'm wearing sunglasses. Yes, but I still, like they say women don't have to say their age. I don't react on that. I think that's the matter. We have to keep ourselves authentic and natural and
Yep.
beautiful the way we are, because this is one thing we gain our wisdom, but we can't prevent the God's plan to go against our
Hmm.
age. That's what they
Yep.
take from us, youth. So it's 19 and
76.
76, it's 23, 1. Okay, this is interesting. One is a symbol of magician. A person could be a trendsetter, a person who is a leader, person who has to use voice or for singing or for, in a bad sense, manipulation, or in a good sense, for advertisement, for podcasting, for broadcasting, for the television. That's what you're doing. And interesting that you have in conflict, you have 11 and 2 makes 13. May I ask a direct question as soon as we have this
Yeah. No,
very
go
honest
ahead.
conversation? Have you ever been, or maybe somebody around you, or maybe you yourself, on the edge or fence of life and death?
All most of my life. Most of my life.
Okay,
Yes.
because that's what creates 13. It's a symbol of transformation. It can actually gives you a lot of survivorship in a good sense, a lot of
Hmm.
the, like wisdom when you got out of that
Yep.
transformation. But 13 is not an easy number. That's why. So usually it takes a couple of hours conversation when we talk about astrology and numerology separately. They are very related, but astrology, it's more about planets.
Correct.
Because when you're born, when you appear as a soul, as an angel, you go down on the earth. We have sun and moon,
Hmm.
and we have more, but basic 8 planets that create our potential. And what happens, let's say you're opposite next to me sitting right
Hmm.
now. So that creates an opposition. The planets do the same thing. Geometrically, they create uh, like their transition, their transits,
Right.
their attitudes, relations between each other, that creates potential for life. But you're the only one person, when you learn about your potential through astrology reading, who can find, or numerological reading, you can decide what you do with that. So, like I said, with number one, you can be a manipulator or you can be a broadcaster. It's
Right.
good and bad. You can be psycho and, sick
Hmm.
person,
Yep.
God forbid, or you can become psychiatrist or psychologist if you have this potential hidden in your numbers.
Right.
So that's how those sciences operate. But usually it takes time to calculate. You need to prepare because it's really dive into your math by the birth.
Yeah. And so a little history on numerology. Um, where is the basis, the history of numerology started? And I mean, I know this is old history. I mean, it's been around
Yeah.
for hundreds of thousands of years, right? And astrology the same.
Yes, it came from Mesopotamia, as I told you, and they wrote the numbers on their like little ta tables.
Yep.
Maybe I'm like I don't know historical parts of it that well, but I know that people like Amar Khayyam, he was a writer, but he was
Hmm.
astrologist as well. Nostradamus, he was considered to be physician, fortune teller,
Like
but he
early
still insists.
civilization, this was a normal
Yes.
thing. Like you said,
It's,
it was an education that people got.
Absolutely. Aristotle, everybody
Hmm.
takes him from a mathematical point of view, but
Yep.
he was on the side of astrology, for example. Maybe I know less about numerological part, but still, they came from the same
Correct.
background.
Correct. And how does that, so I mean, you've made a career out of it. It's been your passion. How has that career opened up different avenues in your life as far as again tying back into your relationships and where you are with your clients, but let alone how you are with just relationships in your personal life. How has your passion for this opened up things in your life?
You know, Dean, by that time, 23 years old, so I finished the university. I told you it was
Hmm.
totally different thing. And I still felt like I didn't accomplish something in life. I wanted to study for something different. And I had a very short but very bad marriage with kind of abusive impulses. And I realized it's not what I was introduced to in my
Yeah,
childhood because my parents loved each other,
right.
respected each other, understood
They
each other,
set that
worked
example
together.
of what a marriage should
Mm,
be. Right.
yes, cared about each other. Mother was a woman, father was a man. They worked together, made money together. Everything what
Hmm.
they did it from scratch and they did it together. So I had a very great example. So how it happens to me, the girl who is the only child, overly loved, too much care and protection and everything. Maybe that was the reason. Got into bad relationship with a person, and now I thank him so much, believe me, because it was a short marriage. I got rid of it very fast. My father helped me
Mhm.
to get out of there. But I realized I have to learn it. I have to understand what karma is.
Right.
So, answering your question, why did I get to astrology, numerology? First of all, besides my passion to spirituality initially, I wanted to understand how do we match? Why did we meet? Why did we
Right.
separate? Why did we had that impulsive and aggressiveness in this relationship and so on? So what happened with me, people started to knock my door almost immediately. That's why I understood when it's calling, it's calling.
Hmm.
I thought, okay, but I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I kind
Right.
of pushed people away because I didn't want to take any karmic responsibility for people's life, giving them advices. Until now, I don't do that. But I
Yeah.
don't do that because I think that you, um, true self, everything, all answers are hidden within, so
It
you
has
can
to
make
come
it
from the
without.
person.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why even in my like sessions for the counseling, my art is to put questions, the right questions for you, and you'll
Hmm.
get there on your own. And after I understood math is not enough, but people ask me the most frequent request for the consulting services was for me synastry. Synastry in astrology, it's how our compatibility charts are working together,
Right.
whether it's love or business. And you can collate anything. You can collate your
Hmm.
sister and you, for example, why you
Yeah.
have fights within family or
Right.
some
Right.
struggles or whatever. So that's why all the rest came to me already possibly and later on because one science touched another one. And when I was 27 or 20, like 26, my parents, who were a perfect match and perfect couple, started to separate because they had way too much of each other,
Right.
being together for 33 years, and the work exhausted them, the
Yeah.
business way too much time together. And I took that challenge because I have a business project. Art belongs to my husband and I. We do that together. I'm an
Yeah.
expert brain. He's more kind of business guy,
Hmm.
seeing the strategy behind it. But still, I took this risk. I said, no, I'll see how it goes for us. I
Yep.
take my second chance, even if it didn't work out for my parents. So, 27, I was hit by serious family trial. And my father was on the fence of life and death, and it
Hmm.
lasted for 8 years, and I finally lost him.
Oh, wow.
But the girl who was, because I was so much in love with my father, and
Right.
probably
Yeah. Yeah.
such a baby girl, that I dedicated 8 years of my life to spiritual trips, to embracing different alternative medicine sciences. And I tried crazy things. I tried
Right.
crazy retreats. And
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
want, we can open that up also
Yeah. Oh
because
yeah,
it,
for sure. For sure. So what kind of
yeah,
retreats did you do?
I tried Komba, I tried
Uh-huh.
Bufo, I tried ayahuasca. I know they just did some kind of presentation. How crazy is that? On American television, Fox TV. And I said to my husband, "Oh, you see, your wife did all of that." He said, "Oh, really? I married cuckoo." I said, "Probably yes, but it is as it
I
is."
I find so I've tried some of that stuff as well. I've
What did you do?
in my younger days I've tried LSD of different types, mushrooms as well, DMT. I've tried ayahuasca, different pronunciations. But I when I was younger, I was really into that stuff. I really like I grew up, I should have been, my mom always said I should have just been a hippie because I really was like a hippie when I was growing up as a teenager. And so I really did spend a lot of time experiencing a lot of spiritual and it wasn't just partying and fun. It was literally I still to this day have memories of the spiritual journeys that I was on every time I took it,
Yeah.
and it always affected me in different ways. And I knew from the day I took it to the next day when I woke up and got some rest, there was a different mindset. Like it opened up a pathway that I wasn't seeing previous to the usage, right? Um, so I had a lot of experience in that. Psychedelics specifically was one of my favorite things growing up. Maybe like you said, maybe it made me crazy. I don't know, but I really
It
find that
make you
those
you, you
well,
know?
I find that those things, and that's the reason many people and civilizations have discovered them. They actually do open up pathways. I'm a strong believer in that. I believe that those minerals, those different things that are organic to the world that we live in, are meant for medicine. There's a purpose for them, whether it's spiritual, mental. They're not just there's plants that are bad for you, yes, but there's things that are growing that are medicinal that we can't even grasp the understanding of it yet. And I
They
think
say
some of those are
mother
it.
Yeah, they say Mother Ayahuasca exists like 2000 years, and that's a healing medicine. I'm not promoting it because I think it's not for everybody. For sure, you should be
Correct.
ready for that. I
Yep.
never tried mushroom LSD. I know I explain you why, because I felt like being a student, because
Yeah.
addicted to the education, probably I felt more secure being under guidance of the mentor or guru.
Yes.
When you
Yes.
do stuff on your, like probably you as a man more confident and you knew what's going to be the outcome, like physically
Yep.
strong. I felt like I need some guidance. I
For
need people
sure.
around. And I did those retreats, like traveling the world. I went to Bali, to Sri Lanka, to India, to Portugal, to Tenerife
It's
for different
amazing.
reasons, for
Yeah.
different retreats. I love that absolutely. I never been to Amazonia, maybe a miss, maybe not. We never know. But right now, I'm kind of family-oriented person. It doesn't mean like we never know. Maybe it's gonna
Yes.
come back to my life. Right now, after that experience, Mother Ayahuasca left me for a while.
Hmm.
So I'm living kind of family-oriented lifestyle and probably good because my husband is pretty down to earth. He's very
Right.
different. We are
Yep.
balancing each other,
Right.
but he's kind of grounding me because, I was
Yeah.
really flying in the sky with all these
Yeah.
retreats and healing people.
Right. Right. I mean, it's, and again, you hear about, again, you've been on these retreats, but I hear friends of mine that have been on these retreats and they've come back with just profound wisdom that they didn't know they had. That basically the inner them, they were able to recognize more about themselves coming back from those retreats. I think one of the things, like you said, definitely not promoting for somebody to do that. We would never do that on the show. We would never ask anybody in the audience to go experiment with things. Like you said, with guidance, with someone who knows what they're doing on those retreats, where you have a safe net, somebody that can be there to monitor. When I was younger, I do remember, um, there's emotional states, and like you said, some people shouldn't do that. There's emotional states that you can be in after maybe the loss of a loved one. Maybe you're just having kind of a rough day or a rough run, in life. Those are not times to do stuff like that. There's energy,
Yep.
there's bad emotions and energy that go into that when you go into it with a kind of a bad mojo, I guess you could say. It's not good. And we always, as when we were younger, we would experiment with that stuff. We knew that, you never wanted to go out there and eat a bunch of mushrooms when you were in a bad mood or angry. It
Oh
just,
yeah,
the
yeah,
outcome was never what you wanted spiritual. It was never, you didn't gain
yeah.
anything from it. It was just a bad time.
Yeah.
So again, we don't ever promote that, but I've always been a firm believer that there's so many things that we as a society, as civilization, we haven't even tapped into where the spiritual side of some of the things we have on this earth are and the
Yeah.
experiences there are. Even just, nowadays as I get older, just being in nature. I mean, just finding a nice
Oh,
peaceful place
yeah.
at a park or on the water somewhere and just relaxing and enjoying and listening. There's so much that we haven't tapped into spiritually, I think, as human beings. Or the people nowadays, we don't have the time to do it, is really what I hear the most.
But you know what I liked about your comment that you said you did it with intention, with a purpose, that what
Hmm.
matters. Because I think whatever you do, even if you're cooking the dinner for your kids and
Yep.
family, or I did a safer thing like standing on nails meditations that
Hmm.
takes a lot of physical power and the relaxation at the same moment because it's critically painful.
Hmm.
But if you do it with the intention, you'll really liberate a lot of destructive energy from your body,
Right.
and you put that mindset on things happening into your life, you know?
Hmm. Let's talk a little bit about the app. I'm very interested in
Sure.
that as well. Tell us all about it. How it came about. What people can get off the app, and is there a cost to the app?
Sure. So the app, it's actually a result of my 12 years counseling career with all my different methods that I do propose in person, but I understood that not everybody has an opportunity, first of all, especially in the United States when life is streaming and
Hmm.
people are busy and they have two, three jobs, or maybe you're a student. Not everybody can afford the therapist or
Yep.
the counselor. I'm not a therapist in this country. I have my master's degree overseas, and I'm more about spiritual awakening, sorry,
Hmm.
and more about the art of counseling you, helping you to identify who you are with different methods, which is my signature technique. And that's why I put a lot of things. Gemini Near Me, it's the self-help and self-love app. Why self-love? I told you, without love is absolutely impossible. Without accepting yourself, understanding yourself. To understand and accept yourself, you have to know yourself. That's why we call ourselves one-stop shop for all self-discovery tools, with a revolutionary IRYNA AI. Why it's revolutionary? It's a picture of me, which is not even picture, it's a video of me. It's one of a kind two-way conversational avatar. As much as I respect people like Tony Robbins and
Hmm.
others nowadays, famous coaches, and I attended a lot of his seminars here in the United States and London, but I have to tell you, as far as I know, not even him doesn't have it. So I was kind of working with one company. We worked very hard on developing
Hmm.
this IRYNA AI, your 24/7 pocket counselor, because sometimes you need help 2 a.m. in the morning. You had a
Yep.
fight with your girlfriend, maybe you're 18 years old boy, and you need somebody to talk to fall asleep, or you don't know how to wait until morning, or maybe you have two, three jobs and two kids, and you're paying on your own for everything, and you can't afford yourself a therapist or a counselor for 150 when it's a
Right.
good one. And
Yep.
not everybody is doing copay in this country, or
Hmm.
maybe you don't have 2 months of wait. Of course, if it's something like emergency, you definitely, IRYNA AI is very, very restricted. Whenever
Right.
it comes to very strong physical issue or it's emergency, you definitely, she is telling you that you have to
Yeah.
dial 911.
Yeah.
If
Reach
it's
out.
all
Yeah.
yeah, if it's overly medical, or you have, like, something like disease or something,
Hmm.
definitely it redirect you to a physician.
Medical. Yeah. Yep.
And of course, if it's, because I understand people could take it as a fun, which is not, because it took a lot of hours for me to program IRYNA
Hmm.
AI, not to make it OpenAI, not to make it
Right.
Grok or ChatGPT, but to be IRYNA AI with spiritual concept. And I'm still working on that. Tomorrow I
Yeah.
have my another meeting, and it's going to be even more better because I'm downloading more and more
Taking
stuff.
it to the next level.
Yes,
Yeah.
and absolutely, yes, I'm non-stopper in this. I'm absolutely passionate about what I'm doing. And I have to tell you, when it's, for example, people, when they make fun or something overly sexual
Hmm.
things, it's
Right.
as well, it restricts you. So IRYNA AI will never give you the number of the lawyer to, I don't know, put in prison your husband, or
Right.
cut off
Right.
expenses, or parental rights from your
Right.
wife or something like that, or give you a divorce lawyer. She will never do that. It will never do that. It's still an
Yep.
engine, still a machine, but it will help you to question you the right things. So you, Dean, can ask. It's like conversation with yourself. That's how I
Right.
programmed. It's like a mini regression that you can talk to yourself first before you start talking to the other people. As well, the app itself with all other features that help you to understand yourself better, like dream interpretation.
Yep.
We Sometimes we have dreams, sometimes people don't remember those dreams, but it can help you to decode your unconscious, to understand
So
yourself better as
you
well.
say that, and it's funny you say that. And me and my wife talk about this often. I rarely remember my dreams. Very rare that I
Yeah,
remember. So sometimes I sleep really good. Most of the time I fall right asleep. I sleep good, but I never remember my dreams. But I know when I'm sleeping, the one thing I do remember is that all my dreams are very vivid. They're very, but I never, the
right.
second I wake up, they're gone. I couldn't tell you what I dreamed about, but while I'm sleeping, it's very active in my mind. I know what's going on. And then there's occasionally throughout the year, occasionally there'll be maybe a half dozen or a dozen dreams that actually stick with my memory when I wake up. Like I'll wake up and go, "Oh, that was a very crazy dream I was in." And I remember just a few throughout the year, but I never remember my dreams ever.
It's interesting because
And
this is,
I did have a very traumatic childhood, and a few of my counselors have told me in the
yeah.
past that could be part of it. Part of it could be that somehow you're locking away having that vivid memory during sleep because of your trauma that you've experienced as a child.
Like Carl Jung, he was very big on dreams. He was
Hmm.
investigating dreams to understand your unconscious and your fears and your anxiety points, most of all. Sigmund Freud, he was speaking through the dreams about mostly your hidden desires and repressed
Hmm.
emotions about that, because sometimes we don't want to admit what we really want in our sexual life or in our like all spheres of life. There were big minds like Meneghetti, Wenger. She was a fortune teller from Georgia, very interesting, but she was still into dreams. Miller, he was unbelievable. He created the vocabulary of dreams. It's an unbelievable job. But for me, most of all, when I work with people, I ask about their dreams because it's Jungian psychology. Most of all, I would tell you that it matters not what you've seen in your dream. It was computer, cat, dog, or
Right.
car. It was more about how you feel after the dream, because maybe the same type of dream or the same symbol of the dream for you and
Hmm.
I will mean absolutely different thing.
Right.
It's like you're kind of your personal little fortune telling. Your intuition is talking to you, because they say that our soul has a journey during we
Hmm.
are sleeping, our body is resting, and soul is traveling and coming
Right.
back to the body. So what else? We have astrology and numerology. We spoke about it before. We have
Hmm.
affirmations. Quotes of the day, cards of the day, like to help you to keep yourself on the track towards your
Yep.
dreams.
Hmm.
Pre-recorded expert classes to identify your true goals and values. Without
Yep.
them, you can't match with anybody, because it will be a big mass. I think that we are
Right.
always sharing the life with the person who are sharing the same goals and values. Sooner or later, if it doesn't match, it's going to create a crisis in a
Right.
relationship. And meditations, intentional meditations for 1 or 2, depends what is your request, because meditation can serve you a very good work with your unconscious, to put your conscious and unconscious in balance, to help your dreams to be realized in the easiest, fastest way.
Yeah. And one of the other things I see on here, the daily affirmations, as you spoke about, there's
Yep.
quotes of the day, the dream interpretation that we just spoke about, the manifesting journaling. Tell me a little bit about that.
I forgot about it. Thank you. Manifesting
Hmm.
journal. This term manifestation, when we were kids, it was kind of dreaming. Just ask a grandpa or Santa Claus or God about something you
Hmm.
want, and that was easier.
Right.
Right now, people use this term manifestation, which is so
Yeah.
fancy and nice, but it's still
Yep.
working for us. Manifestation, it's more about setting up an intention and to be clear
Hmm.
about your true desire. When it comes to true desire, you can think about it consciously and you think, I want a new wife, new Ferrari, new home, whatever you want.
Hmm.
But something is preventing you from these dreams come true. Why?
Right.
Because your unconscious part is not ready. Maybe God is protecting you, a universe is protecting you because you're not going to handle that fame or that glory or that
Right.
amount of money or that power, or you're going to get into a car accident, so you don't need
Yep.
a speedy car. So
Right.
universe knows.
Yes.
That's the art of manifestation when your conscious unconscious go
It
into
comes in
balance.
line. Yeah.
Yes, and one of the ways is to do the meditation. The other is a common way that we offer within the app. It's a journaling. People don't know how to journal. People think, okay, we do journaling every day. When you use your
Hmm.
iPhone or Android, whatever, and you say 8 p.m., I have a podcast with Iryna Wood, that's journaling because you set up an intention to have it in
Yep.
the morning or a few days ago. What's the other way how you journal? Or trick for the audience, what you can use on your own without any psychologist. You journal from the point of view of gratitude. What happened to you
Hmm.
during the day? I had a fight with my brother. I had an argument about this and that. And that was awful and horrible. I hate him. But
Yep.
maybe that was beneficial for me to understand this and that about myself. So
Correct.
when you reflect on your emotions, what this accident brought to you into your life, how you can improve yourself and become better, how you can better your life.
Hmm.
So people don't know how to do that. That's why I created daily prompts. I send
Yep.
a kind of message. You tell me which area you want to work on. We have different fields. You want to work on your parental relationship. You want to work on your love relationship, of your finances, whatever. You choose it. Every day you get a note at 7 p.m. after your work. Not in your case, you're a non-stopper.
Yeah,
But
right.
we are already after 7, me the same.
Yep.
But for people, and will improve it. People will be able to choose a perfect time for them to get
Hmm.
notifications. I'm working on that, and they receive their notes like, do this exercise, do that exercise, that it can bring you to kind of results, to the
Right.
upgrades in your life.
And it's really important, over the years. I haven't done it as much lately as far as journaling. I know my wife, she journals every night. Everything that goes on in her life, it's in a book. Somewhere in our house, there's a journal sitting and she writes in it every day. And I for years did it too. I don't do it as much anymore. But it is true when you put your mind to something, you really want it, and they say go work for it. You got to work at it. You got to work at it till it comes true. That's not always the case, right? So it kind of what you just said makes sense. If your subconscious is not ready for it, it doesn't matter how many times you want to do it. If you're not in line and balanced with it, it's not going to happen. It's not time. It's not ready for that to
Yep.
be. And so, some people just live life each day and they just go through life. I want to say it was about 2014 when I started really reflecting and looking in the mirror at myself and making changes to better myself. And I think that's part of it. I started manifesting better vision of where I wanted to be as a father, where I wanted to be as a husband, where I wanted to be as a human being, a friend, all of that. And I think one of the things I talk about a lot on the show is just that, how can you be, what is the legacy you leave behind, right? So
Yep.
even if it's, and I don't mean the legacy when you die, I mean like yesterday. What is my legacy that I did yesterday that was meaningful in the world, in my life, or in someone's life that I interacted with? And so I always look at that. I always talk a lot about that to the audiences. How can we each day do something intentional, right? 365 days in a year. How can I help one person? Is it just holding a door in public? Is it buying a lunch for someone I don't know?
Yep.
Is it smiling or telling a joke to a complete stranger in a grocery store? My wife goes crazy because I do that all the time, and she's like, "Stop talking to people in the store." It's who I am. I'm outgoing that way, but I'm
Yep.
always trying to find a way because you never know. You meet someone in a grocery store or something, or just passing by. You don't know what they're going through at home or where they're at in life. So I've always tried to encourage other people that way. And I feel like I always ask, what is the legacy that you leave behind, whether it's yesterday or when you're dead? What did you do to affect or help or assist others in the world? How will you be remembered? You know?
Kindness is for very smart people, I have to tell you,
Hmm.
and for noble people. And this is so healing when you say a kind word, and it could be so inspiring or life-changing for the other person. You never
Correct.
know. Maybe this person is sitting on the bench lonely and thinking about their suicide.
Yep.
Maybe this person has nobody life to share with, or trouble, or cancer. And
Hmm.
it's one little word will give the
That's all it
inspiration,
takes.
motivation.
Yep.
Yeah. I wake up one little thing, and my life's changed since then. And you don't need to be a counselor to do that. I wake up every morning. I say thank you that
Yep.
I woke up. Thank you for everything I have. Thank you for husband next to me. Thank you for dogs
Hmm.
sleeping with us.
Yep.
That I was initially against, and now I'm so happy about it. And thank you for my body, physical body that is complete and full. And second thing I say, universe, God,
Hmm.
you know better. How can I serve you today? I'm working
Right.
for you. Even it can sound very metaphoric, that's my work. That's my job.
Yeah.
Tell me. And you know how many calls I receive? Yes, I have my clients that I charge, I work with, and I
Hmm.
consult. But sometimes people can say, Iryna, can just 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Can I say, no problem? And we do it. And I understand so many things started to happen. I feel like energy flows
Right.
because since you have the other person, universe is so smart and it's so beneficial for it. It will
Hmm.
help you because oh, this guy is on the right path.
Yep.
Okay, I'll help. I'll give him whatever he wants. What do you
Right.
want? You want new home, new apartment, new
Yeah.
something? No problem. Just be happy. If you act that way and
Hmm.
help others, yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I think we are working for God, for the
Yeah,
universe.
and like I said, that's, I always tell everybody, that's 365 days in a year. If your minimum goal each day, just one person, whether it's a smile, a compliment, a joke, if you just do one thing like that, a nice gesture, one person, one day, 365 people by the end of the year are affected by
Well,
your energy, your peace, your kindness, your whatever it may look like. There's so many people, and again, not bragging in any way, but there's so many people that I just daily try to do that. I mean, I don't even remember honestly some of their faces. I don't remember half the people. Some days I may help three or four people. I don't remember it. It's become habit. And so
but they
now
do remember you.
yeah, correct, but it's just become habit. Like I just have made that the nature of who I am each day. One person minimum on my day, I try to help. And I work in the senior industry with a lot of elderly people. So I fortunately have the opportunity to help a lot of people each day. But I always wake up with the intention of at least one person I have to give a joke to or smile at or hold the door for, buy lunch for. And if I do that, I know at least one person each day. That's 365 people a year that I'm trying to intentionally help in some
That's
fashion.
unbelievable.
And it doesn't take
That's a
money.
very,
I always tell
yep,
people it doesn't take money to help people. Sometimes it is just a
yep.
joke, giving somebody a good old belly laugh where they're just chuckling and right deep down to their stomach laughing sometimes really is a cure. It really does help break up what someone's going through. That being said, on the show, I'd like to close out, but what we like to do at the end of the show is ask the guest to give the audience some advice on maybe something you went through that was very difficult in your life and how you got through it.
For me, definitely it was a father's loss, and I didn't know how to live. I knew I have my mother. That definitely kept me alive, and I let myself be in grief. So, in case
Hmm.
you're passing through hell right now, whatever it's related, let it be. Let yourself experience all variety of emotions. Don't be scared to be vulnerable. Don't be scared to be weak. Don't be scared to
Hmm.
look like you're on the floor. You'll wake up one day when you'll feel like that because in pain comes the transformation through it. And I think when you will realize you're here for something bigger than yourself,
Hmm.
for a mission, that's what's going to wake you up one day. And when you put this mission in front of you and you will decode it, understanding yourself, whatever it is, maybe to help older people, maybe it's to take care of kids, maybe it's to take care of plants or dogs or
Hmm.
whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But if you identified your mission, it will keep you alive and it will keep you alive exactly the amount of time you should serve this planet. So concentrate on that and don't be scared to be vulnerable when it's necessary to recharge.
That's very important, and also just reminding everybody it's okay to be human, right? We have emotions, and like you just said, it's okay to grieve. It's okay to feel and work your way through it. There's a lot of people that hide emotions. They're not their anxiety. They're scared of anger, fear. They don't understand the emotions, I guess. But I always encourage people, however you're feeling. I got a friend of mine that's going through some stuff right now, and I tell him all the time when I'm on the phone with him, embrace what you're feeling. You're a man and you don't want to cry. Cry. Go ahead and feel it. Let it out.
Yep,
Feel the emotion.
absolutely.
Feel what it's like to be a man and cry. It's okay, right? You're angry because of what you're going through right now in your relationship. Embrace the feeling of it. It doesn't mean you have to make a bad decision because of how you feel. It's understanding that it's okay to feel that way, and we're human. We're supposed to, but work through that emotion. Don't hide from it. Don't bottle it up. So it's exactly what you just said. You know, you really do got to kind of work through those hard times and come out on the other side and realize that that's not it. There's something on the other side for it. It's a
Yep.
lesson. It's a journey. Life is. Um, Iryna, it has been great having you on here. We always invite guests back. So usually within a year, I usually send out another invite to have a guest come back in a year and really let's talk about what's happened in life in the past, in the next, in the year's time period. So we'll always invite you back. Um, the app Gemini Near Me is the
Yep.
app, and that can be found on, I'm assuming, Apple and
It's for Apple and Android users, and you mentioned men. I think this is a great app for men, especially because it's difficult for them to open their heart, and you know it as a strong
yes.
man. But I think this is the place to cry and to be yourself, which is
Hmm.
amazing. And to, so yes, it's available. Gemini Near Me is available for Android and Apple users with 7 days free trial. And I totally forgot to talk about prices because this is me. I
Right,
told you
right.
I understand numbers, but I don't love them.
Yeah.
And it's very accessible. But try it first. If you like it, you can say it's gonna cost you just $10. And
Which nowadays
hopefully,
is a deal for an app,
yeah,
especially with the features that it offers and everything you have
yes.
on there. It's amazing.
And in 1 month, Dean, it's gonna be even better because I'm doing something big right now.
That's huge. That's huge. I look
Yep.
forward to it. I'm going to download it and check out the trial and see what it's like. You're also on social media. You're on Instagram and social media. And again, your website is up here, iranawood.com for our guests
Yep.
that want to check that out or reach out. I encourage our guests to reach out and do some research and learn a little bit more about the numerology and the things that Iryna is doing. So it's been great having you on the show. I can't wait to have you back. Again, there's so much in your life that we can go down, and so I think it's going to be important to have you back because there's so many more questions.
Thank you, Dean. Anytime, I'm very blessed and helpful, and you're absolutely cool that we are next door neighbors.
It's been great having you. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Yep.